Ethan Ralph. Hello, Ethan.
Heel.
Good evening. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're good. Thank you for popping by.
You're welcome. I have an account on YouTube. It's Bob Smith. And some people know it's me. The people who hate me are mostly the ones who know that's me. But I tried to get your attention earlier. And then I sent
Sorry about that. I was...
It's all good. It's all good. I just turned my stuff off, so it took me a little bit longer to get set up. I was like, she's going to miss it. And so probably won't be tonight, but maybe we'll catch up soon. And then right when I turned it off, you messaged me. So here I am.
I'm glad. I'm good spur of the moment. And I'm glad I looked at my messages. And I do. And like I said, that was the most icky part of that stream for me, because I'm like, why are we watching these things? Why is this relevant? Like, that was not my intention to bring that up. And then he sort of like bullied me into like, well, you don't have this prepared. I said, I wanted to bring up the things that you sent me that I felt were relevant. And it wasn't that. Like, so again, I apologize, but
no, it's all good. The thing is, so we were going to snipe the whole stream, and then war broke out between Iran and Israel. That's, I cover politics and war and stuff like that too. And that's kind of one of my fortes. And it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to do this instead. It was big breaking news. And then I had your stream up, but it was muted. And so I was kind of monitoring certain threads about the stream, etc. And then the one part I did see, somebody super chatted me in and they're like, hey, turn it on. I do want you to react. And I was like, okay, I'll check in for a second. And it was that video being played. Now, to be clear, I've never seen the whole video by choice because I just don't want to see myself like that, really. Of
course.
And, it wasn't my finest hour, I'll say. And, it was surreptitiously recorded, obviously. I don't know, the mechanics or, so she recorded me, whatever. And so it's been misrepresented. It's again, I didn't handle myself very well there, but I didn't like, Mike Tyson, anybody or anything like that. And I don't talk about it a lot, but I was actually trying to hug her. I know that sounds weird and crazy, but I was really fucked up. And, it's just one of those things that happened. It's a relationship that's over. And so, I wish her well. And
listen, arguments and fucking like awfulness happens in relationships. I completely understand that. Obviously, I don't feel like you acted correctly when I listened to that video, but at the same point, it's like, what the fuck did that have to do with what you said that you were going to present to us? Like,
look, Gabe had nothing the whole time. So one thing I did say, just by listening and reading the reacts, is, I already thought he had nothing because he never has anything. All his stuff is derivative. He doesn't have any, scoops. He never has. He's really boring on air. He has no fucking charisma. And so I saw what he was doing, kind of guiding you into, hey, milk the super chats, milk the audience, which, I understand that strategy. And, you made a good amount of money, I think. But yeah. I'm like, he's going to drag this out with stuff that doesn't matter and, trips down memory lane or whatever. I didn't know how far it was going to go. But I'm like,
the memory lane vendetta was what where I was checked out. I'm like, why is this relevant? Also, Gino, you got to say hi to Gino. Yeah.
Yo, dude. How you doing, Ralph?
G Money, what's up, brother?
All good things. Shen Dom, my friend. We were saying it was so funny. I was talking early in the stream. It's like, because he went off on this tangent, then he's attacking you and Mersh. And I'm like, that's the beauty of just being authentic. Because I told him, like, within 5 minutes, I got into Mersh's stream and said, I stand with Mersh. And we had a big giggle. I'm like, we didn't even have time to reach out to Ralph because you went right on lines like, I think he was taking advantage of Kiki. This guy's an idiot. And I thought that was I thought that was a real stand-up thing to do. So Chendon to you, my friend. I mean it, man. Thank you for doing that.
I did appreciate that because it put it in perspective. I do think I was taken advantage of, and like maybe he knew that somebody else would know better, but I'm not up on this fucking like, internet lore, and I'm not here for this like you getting back at people that have bullied you on the internet because you have nothing to say and you're like a little baby man. Like,
yeah, that's a good way to put it. If I can interrupt a sec, baby, it was really like real fast. It was.
I just want to say this real quick. Shout out to Mersh over on Rumble. I'm often in his chat after my show, and I usually get to see his show more than anybody else, just because it's usually right after mine. So shout out to Mersh. Salute to
live right now?
Yeah, he is.
I gotta go.
I was in his chat and your chat. I then went over there because nobody, a few people knew it was me, but you guys didn't. So I was like, all right, I'll just go over to Mercer's chat, and he's watching this. So I was watching the stream.
Hi, Mer. I texted him on Gino's phone and I said it's Kiki, and I said to him the same thing. I went, I felt icky about that. And like, I know he probably doesn't care, just like you don't give a shit about like that weird little
that
man.
Was the one part of the stream.
But I didn't get it. I'm like, I don't understand how this is relevant. I don't want to be weirded out by this. And this is what you promised. It's my show. Whatever I wanted to play of the fucking 40,000 emails that he sent me, I would play. But no, it was I want to go down memory lane and get back at the people that have bullied me, and give no actual content or bombshell. And then it was like we were bored and waterboarded. I was exhausted and uncomfortable and bizarre. But those three things, I'm like, the two Ethans have been really nothing but nice to me. And Mersh, I've had nothing but very limited but pleasant interactions with. This is not like a nice thing to sit here and laugh at or look at or what have you. It made zero sense. And maybe a different person or whatever that knew what he was trying to do would have been like, all right, can we, enough, goodbye. But I faltered in that because I'm like, and so then thinking back on it, I'm like, yeah, this was a complete and utter disaster that had nothing to do with what we were going to laugh at. I don't know, but.
Well, that was the one part of the stream I saw was, you guys going over that video, and, some people wanted me to keep it up. I don't want to see that. So I turned it off, and I was like, kind of what's going on.
I was like, I don't want to fucking see this. Right. So.
And I saw you talking about, you were going into some story about somebody pissing in bottles. I'll just say this. The world's highest paid actor, The Rock, pisses in bottles on the set. So I'm in good company as far as that goes. But regardless, I saw that, and I just assumed kind of you were trashing me. I didn't watch anything, and then my chat goes, "Hey, actually, she didn't trash you. She didn't say anything personal or anything like that." And so I, kind of came. Had a come to Jesus moment during my own stream where I was like, she doesn't even know really what's going on and what Gabe's up to. And you did a service really letting Gabe be Gabe. The stuff with me is whatever. I don't even care. But the stuff with Mersh, he's laughing at this clip. Mersh, telling a story about, being molested basically. Right. And so Gabe's supposed to be this warrior against pedophiles, and he's sitting there yucking it up, laughing at Mersh. Even if you hate the guy, I don't know. It was sad, disturbing, and that's Gabe Hoffman basically with money. He has money. He doesn't have a hedge fund anymore because it's defunct, but he acts like he still does. You can look that up, by the way, on the SEC website. So,
shit.
Yeah.
Oh, there's your bombshell. Okay, see,
capital is defunct. Yes.
Okay, so he no longer has a hedge fund.
No, not that I know of. The one he went on CNBC shilling and talking about how he was going to short Tesla. That really worked out, by the way. He lost his entire hedge fund basically off that. And they used to bring him on to laugh at him because everybody in Wall Street's like, this guy's a kook, but he has a little bit of money, right? And I think it was, 50 to 100 million of mostly other people's money that he lost. So, yeah, he's a stock market wizard.
You're making us laugh.
Wouldn't you put your
As
retirement
opposed to a guy who whizzers in bottles, am I right? Yeah. Yeah, nothing? Come on.
I didn't know that was so controversial. But yeah, the wizard, King Wizard here. Yeah, Gabe Hoffman, he's just, I don't even remember how our beef started really. And even after it started, he bought stolen materials like clothes and shit, and some of my keepsakes that somebody, it got left at their house and they sold it. I won't go into that whole story. You may guess who that might be, but regardless, he bought it for $5,000, which I'm like, okay. And he tried to sell it back to me for the $5,000. I told him to go fuck himself. And so even after that happened, he started coming back around, messaging me. And I tried to humor him, but he's a really spurgy guy. And he wants to take control of everybody else's show and be the kingpin and point them in different directions. He wanted to be put on my intro cartoon as like the Jewish puppet master of the show. And I'm like, yeah, that's funny, Gabe. Haha. And he went to the artist, Sven Stoffels, and tried to get him to do it. And he's like, you don't want me to do that, right? And I'll go, no, hell no, don't do that. This guy's fucking crazy, and have the email and everything. He's just really weird. You would think with all that money, why is he even hanging around here? Look, he does have a lot of money. He sold a mansion, I think it's in Palm Beach, to Larry Ellison, who founded Oracle, and it's one of the top 10 richest people in the world for like 80 million. So he has money. If I had $80 million, I would not be doing this, right? Or I'd do it maybe once a month or something just for fun, right? I'd be laid up on a beach somewhere, deciding where I was going to go next, right? I don't fucking know what his deal is, and it's strange.
It's disturbing, and I had no idea he had ever had any interaction with you or Mersh, or I'm just becoming familiar with Ethan Van Sciver, right? I'm like, why is this relevant? It makes absolutely no sense. And it was like, it didn't bring us towards anything. And I cannot tell you, I'll say it again, how many times he said, it's your show, I don't want to overstep my bounds, and you can play whatever you want. And then acted like I was like a stupid fool idiot because I didn't put things in folders. I'm like, I put them in folders that I thought were relevant. Where are we going here? Nowhere. He must just be a sad little man. I don't know.
He expected you to read his mind. And I'm reading stuff. So I didn't watch the stream. I still only seen that one little bit, and a clip or two from Mersh and somewhere else.
I was there and I didn't watch the stream, to be honest.
I read a lot of reacts to it live because I'm doing both at the same time, multitasking live on air. And it's like he's putting you down during the stream, and you have a different opinion than he does, and he's attacking you. And I'm like, this guy's complete asshole. I might let a guest get away with that once. The second time I'm coming with a jab, and the third time I'm coming with the knife to the chest. I don't put up with that shit. So even getting through that stream, kudos to you. And, like I said, what happened, right? I knew that was going to go down because I knew he was going to string it out so long, and then people were going to be like, is this it? Like, this is what we waited hours and hours for? So he kind of set you up for a fall. And while I was sitting there on air, I was like, this guy came and took advantage of somebody who didn't really know the full lay of the land as far as all these backstories go and all these people go. And, so Gabe's that kind of snake. And,
I had no idea
at first a little bit because I was like, what the fuck? But, I realized what happened while I was broadcasting. So then I cut that video right after the show. So
Right. No, and I appreciate your tweet because honestly, after it was over, I was crying to you. Like, what
and who was right? What did I tell you?
Horrific. I know. I was like, I can't believe I wasted my life on this. I'm a fool. I can't believe it. I'm like, I had no idea he even knew who you guys were. I'm like, I've been on your show one time, like, and I just hated. I was so sick to my stomach about that. Like, I don't want to shit on these people. I don't understand how it's relevant and I don't get it. It's wild. It was fucking wild. But then, yeah, I wake up and I'm like, okay, it'll be okay. It's not, he wants to blame it on me. He texts me this whole thing and he goes, I think he wanted to cope. He goes, I think we all learned a lot tonight. And I'm like, we didn't learn anything, bitch. Are you serious? And then he says, also, I posted this tweet where,
oh my God,
is this okay? And it was, little Nikki Ricada, who is a red-faced idiot or whatever, and he did stay the entire time. And thank you for the $40, Nikki Ricada.
Shout out to Ricada, by the way. We disagree on Ricada, obviously, but yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. But he goes, thank you for staying in the chat all night. Like, you let me and a retard get you upset. And then he goes, I hope that's okay. I said, you're calling me a retard? And then I called him and I said, no, fuck you. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're saying I'm a retard? You provided nothing, literally nothing. Like, he's like, oh, do you want me to take it down? I was like, you don't have to, bitch. But why the fuck would you do that? And then I hung up the phone. And then he texted me, he said, well, what I was going to say before you hung up the phone was that, and I think that monetarily, you made a good amount of super chats tonight. I'm like, you got so flustered by the chat, you wouldn't even let me read them, weirdo. God, horrific. Like, absolutely ridiculous. But
well, from the little I saw and the lot that I read, it was just he was mainly concerned with attacking me, attacking Mersh. I think there were a couple others on the list. I don't know. I didn't go through the whole entire thing, but he's taken processors away from me. He's hit Mersh's PayPal, I think, just last month, and a couple other options I think of his. And so this guy's, about destroying me, about destroying Mersh, and that's his overarching goal. He's doxed right-wing dissidents and worked with Antifa. Go look through his following list. He's promoted those doxes on his account. This guy is a scumbag of the highest level. And so whatever people think about me, Gabe is a fucking piece of shit. And that's not even going into his movie, which is also a crock of shit. And the director didn't even promote it. He tried to... he threatened to sue the star of the movie, saying he owned his story of child abuse. Like, this is, again, I've had some peccadillos in my personal life, but this is a guy who, first off, doesn't have alcohol and drugs to blame for some of those. And he's saying he owns this guy's story of being molested, right? Like, it's mind-boggling. And I would say that that's worse than anything I've ever done. And even the lies told about me, I think that's worse. So you did a service, really, at the end of the day, in my opinion.
Well, I guess, like, my idiocy and, like, curse of non-knowledge exposed him for what a little horrific man he is. Because I'm like, I don't understand how this is relevant. And also, not for nothing, my goal isn't to, like, that's not what we do over here. Like, I had a problem with the way Nick Ricada was with my friend April. Okay. I don't have any ill will towards him. I don't want anything, like, I don't want to expose, like, he said he had a bombshell and I thought maybe we could laugh about him yelling at me on this little piggy stream and then he would say something. That's all. That's all. That is all I thought it would be. But I don't like want to ruin he's ruined his own life, and hopefully we'll get it back. I'm not sitting here like saying he's inherently a bad dude, but he tried to prove that he was a bad dude by going down memory lane of you three that have bullied him on the internet. Bullied, I say that in quotations because it makes no fucking sense. I had no fucking prior knowledge of it. It didn't seem relevant. And then he got flustered by the chat and that I didn't have those clips prepared because I'm like, I don't think they're fucking relevant to what we're talking about. Why choose to come on my show? It made no sense. No sense whatsoever. But.
Well, and he had nothing. And I know Aaron's in the chat, and he's your buddy and everything, but he hyped this up like it was going to be the reveal of the year. We watched you guys actually on the kill stream that clip. Now,
wait, who's my buddy? I'm
Aaron M. Holt. Investigative reporter Gabe Hoffman. He's not an investigative reporter. He's a fucking fraud who happens to have a lot of money and is a Zionist, by the way. I won't go into my.
Go on.
Yeah, well, that's one reason why he hates me is because, I'm anti-Zionist and pretty strident about it. So, I have my theories about him being a, agent of a certain state. But I won't go into that because. Maybe I will. He's wormed his way into the sector, as I named it, as people call it. And if you follow the sector,
you can ask because now I just understand what it is, which I had no idea about.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a big part of it. Yeah. But if you follow the sector, and I'm a part of it, right? And so I definitely follow it, and some would say created it, but regardless, like he's gotten close to certain creators like Josh Moon and Medicare and the Keanu Casino, as they call themselves. And if you notice, all those people used to talk, anti-Israel or, at least criticize Israel, criticize Zionist power. And now they don't talk about that anymore. Now, I don't know the reasons for that. They'll have to speak for themselves, but it just so happened to coincide with Gabe Hoffman getting closer to them and whispering in their ear. So again, there's definitely been a drift in the sector where, a lot of the shows just don't talk about that stuff anymore. Of course, I still do. But I think he thought he was going to get in my ear and, change my views on that, maybe throw around a little money. I tell people on my show, if I ever come out saying some stuff like Gabe Hoffman or, changing my views on Israel, etc., then I've completely sold out, and it was for a very good reason, and you shouldn't watch anymore. Right? Like I was bottom barrel, and I had to do it. So you'll know that if it ever happens, and please forgive me. Right? So that would be just the end of the line, basically. So I don't know. He's definitely got that as part of his motivation for sure.
Right. It's just
you didn't know any of this, right? Like there's
nothing. I literally knew nothing. And I not shit on him. I know he's our buddy or whatever, but I did say, Aaron went, you got the Gabe Hoffman interview?
Yeah, I heard you say that earlier. Like it was, Nixon or Watergate or some shit. This guy's Aaron's a clown, first off. And Gabe is.
The thing I like about Aaron, he knows he's a fucking clown. But then
he hyped this up. He hyped it harder than Gabe. I'm sitting there listening. I'm like, well, does this guy even believe what the fuck he's saying? Like, I literally, I don't know, man. The Gabe Hoffman interview. I knew he had bullshit the whole time. He's never had anything legit. Like, and he's like watching paint dry, watching him on a stream. Like, he's so boring.
No, my eyes were glazed over. I had to drink myself through it almost. And then I'm like, I don't even know where we are now. And it was torture. It's traumatic to think back on. Now I can laugh at it. Well, I was sort of laughing at it then as well. Every moment I would try and make a joke. Every moment I tried to lighten it up. I tried to bring on the, Nick face and he was like, we're not going to be able to get to that. I'm like, what do you think this is? Like
serious business. It's really serious business to Gabe. I don't know.
Well, right, but the words that I'm like, I don't know who Gabe Hoffman is, but I think that's like, yeah, his buddies Kino Casino. I guess now I've learned they've had him on the show before. But like, if he had sent them the 50,000 emails that he sent me, they'd be like, "There's nothing here. Fuck you." Probably. He
may have they said, no, you should go over there, right? Like, because they know this guy's full of shit. He's always been full of shit. And I see your super chat there said, I didn't say anything about Mossad. They have different agencies over there and, Internet Defense Force type deals. So, no, I don't think he's necessarily with Mossad. And you say the sector doesn't matter and they don't pay attention to that sort of stuff. You're dead wrong. You're so wrong. You can't even comprehend how wrong you are. They definitely pay attention to all areas of the internet. And that was one of the main, used to be, at least like, anti-Zionist, I wouldn't even say anti-Israel, but critical of Israel. Right. So yeah, they definitely pay attention to that sort of shit for sure. Yeah.
Let's read a couple of these. Tom's on the way. Since you just said super chats.
This is the famous Ethan Ralph. Yes.
Amy, thank you for the $2. Ralph, your opinion on Nick losing it with Keanu? Good question.
So I watched the whole thing. I went off on people. And I know some people have the take of, you can't go off on anybody, you automatically lose. And I understand that. Take. My take was a little different. Like, I don't know. I don't think it was, there's some funny clips where he's yelling and stuff. But there's also places like where you're not quite, I'll just say, logical necessarily, or changing the subject.
Sexual and very romantic relationship for a long time.
You can't not laugh at it.
Yeah, that stuff's funny. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it is funny. But there's a part, there's one part that I do remember where I think it's Melton saying you flagged me down, and you go, no, I didn't do that, and then he's like, well, I have the tweet, I have the proof, and then you said, well, if I did that, you deserved it, and I was like, okay, well, that did make me laugh.
Oh no, but bullshit, that's fucked up.
I don't know the truth of the matter on that, by the way, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I know they gaslit me, and they fucking like. And then they fucking Moody shows me the narcissist prayer. I didn't do it. If I did, normally that fucking thing wouldn't work. But also, you posted a link to my stolen fucking nudes. Okay, you did, and then I said I didn't report it. Then they gaslit me into thinking that I had to report it,
knowing that you didn't.
And he right.
And
so
if I can add one thing here,
yeah, go ahead.
Keanu's defense, and you could say I'm simping for the wife, but the thing was, she's like, I didn't do that, and he's like, yeah, I have the proof. And Keanu was so focused on while the 5-on-1 pathetic pile-on was going on, in my opinion, she's like trying to like talk about how Nick fucking didn't have the receipts. He was a hypocrite for showing, the stuff and fucking whatever that fucking incest thing was. And he's like, yeah, well, you doxed me. And you cannot convince me that Hunchback Melton, that unhealthy, sad fuck, knows anyone can report you for sharing someone's nudes. And he's like, nope, only Keanu could do it. And Keanu was like in the mindset, anyone could have done it. He's like, no, you did it. And Keanu was so focused on the bullshit with the text at DabbleCon or whatever. She goes, okay, then I did it. But they made it look like, oh, you admitted it. And it was pathetic on their part, in my opinion. Because unless you can tell me that if you can tell me that Melton honestly believed, Melton who lives on X, who lives on social media, if you can tell me Melton honestly believed that only Keanu could have done it, and that when Melton showed the receipt, it was just him getting fucking in trouble from Twitter, thought it was because of Keanu. If you can honestly tell me Melton believed that, well, I would call you a liar, Ethan. But I know you're not going to tell me that. You know what I mean?
When you report something like that, and I know about that. I won't go into it. But
We all do. We all do, my friend.
when you report something like that, there's two different columns, right? Or two different options. Well, there's several different ones, but one of them says it's unauthorized sharing, and then one of them said something like that, and one of them says it's me that they're unauthorized sharing, right? And they take those more seriously, so that might be why he thought that. But yeah, anybody can report it.
No, he didn't think that.
And he knows that.
I don't know the truth.
Yeah, he lives
I'm
on
over here now.
Oh, you're not even there. But he lives on the internet. He knew it. It was just to throw me off, and I'm going like, all right, well, do you blame me if I did? Do you blame me if I did? And I knew that I didn't do it, but that's that fucking Melton thing. It's like, let me just throw her off here. And because I said, I know I didn't do that. Gino's reported like people for me. My fucking family members have. My fans have. Like, that was fucking bullshit. And yes, it's not my fucking fault your Twitter got taken down because you just were thinking it would be a cute or hilarious thing just because to post stolen nudes of me. That's fine, whatever. But they try and then gaslight me into thinking that they did it, and then they go, then Moody. That's the worst thing.
Moody
This
sucks.
is the narcissist's prayer. If I did it, I didn't do that. But if I did, do you blame me? Like, I'm like, fuck you. That argument does not work here. It does not fucking work here. You have this man fucking screaming and yelling at me, and then you're talking about me throwing, you're trying to throw me off by saying that you did. It had to have been you. I said, well, how could it have been me? You're questioning my intelligence. You're calling me a retard 100 times.
She's like, you're retarded.
Are you retard?
She's too dumb to talk to you.
Are you retard? You dumb bitch!
She's dumb.
Piggy, jump off a cliff.
You are so wrong. I could
She
show
can't
the
run, you
fucking
think.
receipt.
Incapable of
I
taking
could
whatever.
show the receipt.
You're the dumbest cunt ever.
How many more times? So then I'm like, do I not remember it? That is gaslighting. That is fucking gaslighting. And listen, it's no fucking skin off my back, but I didn't get his fucking Twitter taken down. All right.
I'll talk about some gaslighting. So, first off, in my opinion, people who talk about Rekieta, mentioning a certain allegation, was it last week or whatever, they're gaslighting because he mentioned it and then he said it was disproven. Now they don't talk about that part and talk about how it was disproven. Now, should he mention that tactically? Maybe not. I wish I'd have reached out to him because I think he thought, hey, here's a rich, guy with a small hat and he's got a lot of money. Maybe, he actually has something, right? And maybe he didn't know as much about Gabe Hoffman as I do, as Mersh does. So when I saw that, I was like, he probably shouldn't have done that, but also it was a false allegation, right? But there's another thing that I want to talk about with gaslighting. People like to play that clip and make all kinds of speculation about, my personal life.
About the chiropractor thing,
alleged choke slam thing that didn't happen. So yeah, that's gaslighting. And they say, oh, Aaron said, oh, well, it would have been a big Rekieta W, but he said this and said that. It's like, okay, no, it was still honestly a Rekieta W overall. Now, should he have jumped the gun and said that? Probably not, but it was still something he was, it wasn't true, right? So anyway, regardless, people like to play that clip. Gabe Hoffman, who's collaborated with Imholt, quite frankly, they like to play that clip, but they don't talk about the text messages from April to Imholt's first wife, where she talks about being headbutted, and Imholt's first wife talks about.
I'll tell you this,
and they agree on that off air. He's a monster, and this and that. So, and I don't know either way. I wasn't there. I've had people say things about me. I don't like Imholt, so I don't know if that stuff is true, but you guys leave that stuff out, is what I'm saying. And if it was me, they would put a billboard up talking about it, right? So anyway, give your take.
I'll tell you this. None of us know if that, listen, that is very fucking specific with the choke slamming thing. a very specific thing to say, right? Very specific. Correct?
Yeah, but he goes on to talk about.
But then when it was reported, no one found merit in it. So maybe it's not true. Guess what else they didn't find merit in? When Rekieta coerced, in my opinion, April, and they went.
She's a grown woman. Nobody made her take drugs.
No.
Nobody.
I'm not talking about the drugs. They tried to go, and I know this for a fact. They tried to go and say that after all that she said, like, no, that's bullshit. Like, I can't believe Ashley, made it like that. The whole deal. Rekieta was so, I know he's your buddy, but like Rekieta was so angry. He's like, no, you need to go and report this thing. And they found also no merit in it. So maybe neither thing is fucking true.
Could be. I'm just saying. I don't really see.
Fact. They said there's no merit in this fucking thing. There's no merit in this case. He had her high on drugs. Fucking like going. We need to get back at Aaron. That's my opinion of it. And they found no merit in it, and they would not fucking do it because they're like there's nothing here. So two things can be true. So maybe the thing at the chiropractor, which is a very specific thing to say, didn't happen. But they found no merit in it.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Can I jump in?
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna point something out. I'm older than everyone here, and when you get a lot of reps in, when shit just keeps coming up,
older than me. Sorry, go ahead. Yes,
I know, way older, but you look good, young man. When shit keeps coming up, it tends to be true. Okay, and if you haven't noticed, your friend Nick, and I don't care, but your friend Nick is. I'm gonna tell you something. He's a piece of shit. Okay. He has no respect for women, in my opinion. Okay. He's a trust fund baby who keeps saying he's going to sue everyone. He comes up with all this shit. And the reason, I don't know about you, but I bet we can agree that April's a stupid cunt, that no one made her do anything. And they gave her all these breaks saying, oh, she's just a kid. But when April fucking sent me a text saying, oh my God, that picture of Kayla, blah, blah, blah. They're all complicit in this horse shit. And everything Nick says is a fucking lie to weasel out of the terrible things he's done. Now, the bottom line is Nick is ruining the lives of his 5 children. He is. He fucking he tried to pull this bullshit revenge porn case, which he knew it wasn't. And his stupid wife went along with it because God forbid she loses that fucking money. She's fucking, complicit. Excuse me. She's beholden to.
And may I interrupt? And sits on a show with Patrick Melton, who literally revenge porned me.
So if you, and that's my point, I'm getting off. But if you think, oh, well, this is the one time he was legit. No, Nick is a lying liar who lies. He is. I'm sorry. And I'm sure you're friends with him, but I can't imagine you guys go yachting together.
No, we don't.
Ralph, you're like, I really, like, maybe you have a working relationship with him, but this is not a guy you want to hang out with.
I hung out with him multiple times.
From him. He couldn't wait to videotape himself driving in a fucking car with the top down, saying, just talking, being cool, because he got married, then got rich, and regretted it. I'm done. You go. I'll have a drink.
I'll say this.
Your answer off air, my friend.
I'm not drinking. And I'll respond. Thank you, Gino.
Oh, wait. I yield my time, Senator.
So I met April. She was lovely and charming. And, we all had lunch. Well, it was late or early dinner, I guess, there in wherever the fuck, Kennedy, Ohio, wherever the fuck we were. Minnesota sucks, whatever. And so wherever we were, it sucks ass, to be honest. Regardless, she was nice. And, I'm not saying that to throw her under the bus. I'm just saying, she's a grown woman. She made her own decisions. And, sometimes those are bad. I'm a grown man. I've made a lot of bad decisions in my life. And we were discussing one earlier, right? Like, and again, I wish that other person well, whatever. I'll leave that there. But as far as Rekieta goes and like his kids are struggling, they live in a mansion, right? Like the only people that really fucked with his kids are the people trying to get him taken away from him, right? And there's still people, trying to encourage him to kill himself every single day. These people are psychotic, right? They do the same thing to me, by the way. But
you know what would help that if he went, let me stay off the internet for a second,
Mhm.
hang out with my
We
fucking
did.
kids. And no, he is keyboard warrior every single day, watching every single thing, going to Hackamania, bringing the fridge that was covered in blow
It's kind of funny.
to it. Like, it's ridiculous. It's all a vendetta against Aaron because he got out, pulled up the plane a little bit earlier, and then he hates me even more because maybe if he wants to call it, I shredded her privacy, even though everybody knew she was living next door. I, maybe forced her out of that situation because he was saying that he was going to leave his wife. So, and she was sitting there fucking crying and being upset. The man, I don't think is inherently bad, but he's that angry and pissed off at me because, oh, now you don't have your wife and your girlfriend that you told your girlfriend you were going to leave your wife for, or leave your wife for her. Sorry, that's from my perspective. The conversations I had with her were fucking disturbing, and he's not inherently bad, but if he looked up from the fucking laptop or the fucking, streaming every once in a while, then maybe he would find some peace and be like, you know what? I have been paying too much attention to this shit. So I don't wish him ill. The
conversation she had with Imholtz's first wife was pretty disturbing as well, and it's screenshotted in her restraining order complaint. Again, I wasn't there. I don't know. Things have been made up about me. Even people I don't like, especially men, to be fair, right? Because it's always believe all women, right? And they can't be lying. And I'm not calling her a liar either, right? But who knows what happened? But it was before Brigada came into the picture, and she was talking to Imholtz's first wife. I'm just pointing that out. But let me ask you a question. Do you think his kids should have been taken from his custody for having cocaine in his house? Like, to me, that's beyond the pale. And I don't think that should have happened.
Why?
Wait,
can I jump on a second and ask you a question? Okay, you go, baby. I'm sorry.
Then I'll yield.
Go ahead.
You go, baby. Fine. No problem.
100 fucking %. I'm sorry if you look at those body cam notes and listen. I've been a purveyor of like, I don't want to fucking see the body cam. I don't even want to fucking see it because it sounds so fucking disturbing. But it's always been there in the police report. Like, these kids, he acts as if there's no way that they could have ever gotten a hold of cocaine. That's ridiculous. Like, we kept it in the safe. There was a baggie hanging out of the safe. It was all over the fucking cuck fridge. The house was a fucking mess. Like, and I don't even know why he thought that would be like he was like, this is laundry day. No. There was obvious, like, degeneracy going on. And listen,
good word.
All right,
there's 5 kids
you want to bill yourself as a fucking strip mall lawyer trad dad, fine, but when you act like this and people are catching on to it, your kids are also catching on to it. I'm not saying he can't fucking like also pull the plane up and be like, he admitted to it. He fucking pled guilty, correct? So obviously it was all around. I don't want anybody's kids to be taken away from them. However, for a time, thank God that they were. And I hope that he
I have to highly disagree. The most disruptive thing, the most damaging thing to those kids was being removed from their parents' custody. And they should only be removed in the most extreme circumstance. And I don't think
all due respect, Ralph, that's an insane statement.
That's insane. No.
Okay, stop. May I jump in? And I'm gonna pay
low or being taken away from the only home they've ever known. Right?
The only home they've ever known was a guy swinging with another woman, a wife putting up with it because she didn't, literally fucking another man because her husband asked her to. They're doing drugs. There's guns in the house. The place is a mess. That's not normal. I don't, and forgive me for raising my voice because the way you're talking, I don't think you're cynic. I think you really believe it, but Do you know something I don't? Because am I wrong to say the body cam footage showed they're doing drugs? There's cocaine all over the house. Apparently, that kid with it lying around took cocaine. I'm not saying Nick gave it to him, but there was cocaine in his system. There are guns in the house. They're not paying attention to the kids. And again, morally, they're swinging with other people openly. That's not a good household for not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but five kids. Am I crazy?
No, you're not.
You can make that argument morally. That doesn't play into things, right? Like it doesn't matter what morally.
No,
morally, right? You're against homosexuality. She's not, for instance, right? And so, like, that's immoral according to a lot of people's homosexuals, right?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say it again.
No, I'm just gonna say you're in favor. Right? You were arguing with him earlier about not liking gay people or whatever, or making jokes. I don't remember.
Like gay people.
I would say you're more liberal than him, right? On that question.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, you think, Gabe? I'm drinking to Ethan right now. Thanks, Ethan.
That's all I'm saying, right? That's all I'm saying. So he says that's degenerate. Some people would say homosexuality is
degenerate. I'm sorry. Gino's brother-in-law is.
Thank you, buddy.
Get out.
I'm just saying.
No, wait.
Many people think that, Keanu.
To me, that that being gay is degenerate. People are.
I didn't say that. I said plenty of people say that.
Well, fuck those people. They're wrong. That's
okay. Well, maybe that's what he would say about the throuple thing, right?
I don't give a fuck. Whatever. Listen. Everything. Listen. It depends on your situation. You bill yourself as a trad dad. You are a lawyer.
People wanted to see
5 fucking children or whatever. Are you telling me that it wasn't at least beneficial for them to get their house at least cleaned up and take out all the drugs and let the kids live with the fucking grandparents for a little while?
Well, I think it was just the grandparents for a minute. I think they had to go to some type of foster home. I don't know the full details. I have to go back and look. But I think
no. They were with their fucking.
I don't know if they were with the grandparents the whole time. I don't know. I have to go back and look. Regardless,
they were not like a little orphan Annie situation.
No, it wouldn't be like that anyway. That's what I'm saying. But I think it would have been better to stay in the home with some type of, maybe supervision or check-in. They didn't have
any. Listen, their nanny April was sleeping in the bed with at one point Aaron was sleeping in the bed with them as well. Do you think that's like good for? I don't have kids. I didn't
say anything about it being good. I'm saying that was their personal life decision, and you can't using that as a justification to remove children. No, and the state didn't even that, right? Like you're making a case the state didn't even make, right? They were talking about drugs and shit, right? They weren't talking about this. So
clearly, I do not think that listen. One kid tested positive for a shit ton of fucking cocaine. All right.
And they wouldn't retest them, and it makes no sense whatsoever. But,
well, does it not make sense, or does even a precocious kid,
a 9-year-old girl, is blind
what mommy and daddy do? Right.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me. I never test with and why would they do a retest?
You're not serious.
Sweep that cocaine off that fridge all you want, dude. No, come on. No,
it was covered in coke from what I read. Saying it tested positive could mean one little spot, right? Like I don't know. Just who knows?
You're blatantly simping for Nick now.
No,
you're nothing but respect. But you're blatantly simping for Nick now.
Yeah, you're doing it. That's ridiculous.
You should only remove kids from the home when it's top flight, like a literal abuse.
Guns, drugs, and swinging. Guns, drugs, and swinging.
They have 5 kids.
The guns weren't available for the kids to shoot off.
So. Let me tell you something about law. This is important. You're going to put me on, or I won't bother you anymore. This is important because it addresses what he just said. It is illegal to fucking do drugs in a house with guns, whether you're legally licensed, whether they're in a safe. If you are in a house doing illegal drugs and there are guns in the house, it is a fucking BROKENLAW felony. So again, kids are out at that point. I'm done. I yield my time.
There's plenty of you don't lose your kids like that. That's what I'm saying. And it shouldn't be illegal. Actually, all drugs should be legal. But we're going into a whole different argument. But all
I'm
vice.
a very Second Amendment guy.
No. You can sweep for Nick all you want.
That's
You're
not
sweeping.
I'm just saying all drugs should be legal. All vice should be legal. That means gambling, prostitution, everything else. Everything
I
you can.
agree with both of those
Hey,
statements, but when
hey,
you have
Hey,
kids,
and also,
I'm
listen,
done.
Ethan,
I'm done. He's yours. You're
Tell
not
me
gonna let me
you agree with me, Gino.
respond to what he's saying. You want to ramble on with your gays are normal thing when I'm literally point blank saying
Go
I'm
ahead,
all for the
Gino.
Second Amendment. I'm all for legalizing every fucking drug. I joked about it one
Okay.
time. I love this fucking. Some guys like, could you imagine how big the heroin lobby would be? But you're not allowed to act like you're all for this freedom. When you have kids, fucking there's a responsibility there. And you don't have guns, drugs, and kids in a house. I'm sorry. That needed to be said right there. I know it's your show, Keanu, but
No,
that's an important statement right there. Back to I yield my time again, Senator.
Christine, I love you, but I was going to say the same thing. So.
No, you weren't. Let me tell you something. You
On
weren't.
the issue, that's fair. I just think it should be, like I said, top flight type, molestation or physical abuse against children.
Ethan,
That's my belief.
You have a kid, don't you?
I have two, actually. Yes.
You have two
Aw.
kids, right?
By the way, happy Father's Day.
Happy
Yes,
Father's
it's
Let's get Send on. We're doing a shot to Ethan for Father's Day.
We'll do a shot to you. And I'm not trying to get on you, but would you ever, I mean, and listen, everything in moderation, right? People have experimented with drugs or whatever. And it's terrible when people have like drug issues or whatever, but would you ever, wouldn't you be disgusted? Chin down to you.
Happy Father's Day, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll never forget you telling me you walk across the border to go and hang out with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
I love it.
it's
Oh,
amazing
wait.
he says the other shit.
All right. But would you ever leave, something out around your kids?
Well, look, that's your interpretation. Nick has his own, stance on that, and that they had no access to it, and so,
Well, then why? But he always lies, though. Remember when he said, "What are the things he admitted to during this little piggy stream?" Oh yeah, I got her hooked on even more than blow, whippets, ketamine, fucking whippets, ketamine, blow, and there was one more. I can't even fucking remember. There were all of those.
Heroin.
And if you are fucking
Oh,
doing
DMT.
was it?
whatever it was.
I'm guessing.
So if you're on
Shut up.
all of that
Shut
amount
up,
of
Ralph.
drugs, if you're on those amount of drugs, if you're on those amount of fucking drugs constantly, you have 5 kids and you've seen his fucking like stream where he's like ridiculous. Don't you think maybe you might have left some blowout around your children? Don't you think maybe something like that maybe they know something is going on here? This couple is here. They're sleeping in the bed with mommy and daddy, which whatever, no kink shaming over here. But there's a lot of drugs going on. He, left a bullet of cocaine by one of Aaron's kids. Don't you think maybe... But don't you think, whether or not that's true, I don't see why he would make it up. Don't you think that maybe when your mind is altered like that maybe, just maybe, you don't remember leaving it around? But what did the cops say? We found fucking blow already. We've been here for 10 minutes. Not in a safe.
It's almost like they knew exactly where to look. I wonder, it's almost like they knew exactly where to look, exactly where the blow was. I wonder how they got that information. I don't know. It's there's a guy with a history of writing.
They're like, let's go in the bedroom.
Me for streaming his hearing, and that's Imholt. And I got a contempt of court for doing that. And he did that to April. He did that to Rakeda, which I streamed Rakeda's hearing too, by the way. He didn't go crying to the judge and say charge everybody and put a case on him. He could have done that. He could have easily done that. He didn't do that. You know who did that? Aaron Imholt, to me, after he did the exact same thing to April, your good buddy. So this guy is, whichever way the wind blows. And I've been pretty consistent on this. People can disagree with me. Like, I don't get angry about it. I'm having fun discussing it, but, my opinion doesn't change. I mean, anything's possible. You're asking me basically a hypothetical, right? I don't answer those, right? Like anything's possible. Yeah, true. M. Holt could have done the old headbutt too, right? Like I don't know, right?
Yeah. Listen,
Go ahead.
I know, like, I'm not trying to be anybody's fucking moral fucking high ground or what have you.
Baby.
No one's moral fucking high ground or whatever, but I don't have 5 fucking kids. Everybody's like tried drugs in their day, but like,
yeah,
you have 5 fucking children. You're not doing the right thing right now. And it's okay if he wants to. That's my problem with him. He treated April like shit. All right, that's my main
April's
problem
a cunt.
with him. That.
Can I address something?
Well, let me finish.
All right, but you're
I that was my main fucking problem. The rest of it, he has to deal with that in his own fucking life. But for you to say, like, and even in the fucking police report, are you telling me that it's ridiculous and crazy that they didn't find blow within the first 10 minutes of being there? That's not even the body.
Well, they knew where to look. Courtesy, if they know exactly where to look, either from M. Holt or somebody else.
You mean just on the nightstand?
Can I? Please?
Oh no! Let him.
Oh my God!
Let him answer. Just on the nightstand.
It's crazy that they found it. No, not really. I don't know. If you're doing a lot of blow, it was in their private quarters, right? Like I don't.
But
don't know. It sounds like crazy.
You think that maybe the kids come
and
in
and saying, like everything was on course. By the way, I never said that. I don't think Rekieta even said that. He said he had a lot of fun. He said it brought him a lot of pain as well. I'm sure he wishes he could do some things differently. Go back and do that. I do too. But it's done. It's dusted. And so, I don't think he said everything was going hunky dory. And I think, he's acknowledged that. And, the vast majority of people, I would say you're more reasonable than most. A lot of the people who, he's got a near 10,000 page long thread on Kiwi Farms, and they've been trying to destroy this guy for 3 years or so. And even before all this stuff happened, I know how they work very well. And so you talk about, he's following every little thing and he's responding to every little thing. Well, he's agitated. I don't blame him. These people want him dead. They want his kids removed. They wanted him to go to prison, right? Like I do think maybe he should, kind of ignore it a little bit more, but I can see that it's, it does, it lets something out, right? To respond to this bullshit. And I know that feeling too. So I completely understand. I've done it.
In my heart, I'm like, it's sad. I think that he shouldn't respond, but that's what he's doing because he's like, maybe still not thinking he did anything wrong and did anyone wrong. And that was what the whole thing was. And do I give a fuck? Like, really? No, because I don't know him other than being on one, or two Chrissy streams with him. But I do know, I know what April was crying to me about, and that fucking disturbed me. That's my only fucking takeaway from it. And I'm not saying he can't have a redemption arc, but he would do himself a favor to be like, all right, yeah, I fucked up here.
Hasn't
I
he
got
said
my kids taken away. I got my kids taken away for a time, and I got them back. And maybe I won't take a whippet break whenever I'm upset.
There's no evidence that he's doing that, by the way. That's just something you guys are running with. Oh, he's off air doing whippets, nitrous knit. Oh, man, he must be doing whippets. Like, there's no evidence. He said he did whippets at one time. And, a whippet, I've done them like twice. They suck, honestly. And it's like a, 50-second head rush or some shit? Like, I don't even know.
So he comes back on the stream and his voice is 8 octaves deeper. That's not a whippet.
I don't know. I couldn't say, but I think it's kind of crazy to just run with that stuff. Like there's and they don't show up on a drug test.
I
don't know. There could be a different reason. Say what?
and they don't show up on a drug test. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but this is all extrapolation, right? Like there's no, oh, his voice was deeper one time when he came back from taking a piss. He must be, high as a kite on nitrous that lasts for 50 seconds. Like no, I don't really think that. So, I mean, it's true that they don't test for it, but like, okay.
16 times during this little piggy stream and came back.
You really think he was going off and doing a whippet or a nitrous tank or whatever, balloon, a nitrous every fucking time he left like that? Or maybe there was something going on with one of his kids. Not nefarious, but like maybe who knows? There could be any explanation for that. Like it must be nitrous. I mean, you see what I'm saying, right? Hopefully, I don't know. Whatever.
Ethan, I don't even want to see him like.
I didn't know I was going to be on here this long doing a full scale debate on Rekieta. That's not really.
I don't want to see him. Number one, I obviously do not dislike you, but I don't even want to see him like fail or like go deeper into whatever. I don't want to see him fail. I only wish that maybe stay off the stop trying to make the narrative that somebody else did this to me. It's Aaron's fault somehow or what have you. That's all.
To be clear, I don't mind it. I don't mind being here doing the full scale debate. I didn't expect it to quite devolve.
You brought it up. I thought we were just going to talk about Babe.
I don't mind. I don't mind that happened. So I wanted to clarify there. But yeah, I don't know. Like these people, they want you broken, man. They want you to beg for their forgiveness. He doesn't owe anybody anything. Maybe you could say for audience or something for missing streams, right? But like, why would he apologize to the hater?
He doesn't owe anyone anything. Why does he continue to try and fucking like reverse this narrative? It's like, just let it go. And I Gino will tell you. I'll put on his fucking like the law tubing stream like with Karen Reed. I think he's really good at that. He just sits there and is like and like it says things. Why not just do that instead of being in everyone's show? Why go to Hackamania? Why do this bullshit? Like, why fucking?
Well, I'll just say, to be fair, you've not quite, at least to my knowledge, been in the eye of the storm like that, right? And I have been for many years and different levels of intensity. It's been at his level several times. Now the run they've had on him, honestly, may have surpassed mine now. But it's the same crowd of people. It's the same folks. And, I predicted they would do this, honestly. But like your instinct is to get one over on them and to, correct the record. And these people are lying about me. They're doing this every day and they have lied about him. Whether you think everything I said was accurate or not, or whatever, there's crazy things that have been said about him. Like I just said, they want his kids taken away. They want him even dead, right? So his instinct is to fight. And, it's a hard habit to break. So I know that from experience, right? Like I don't know what to say other than that. So,
Ethan, it's sad. I totally understand that, and I understand that instinct or whatever. But I think that you're maybe a little bit more reasonable of a human being, at least right now, and going like.
Well,
trying to take up for your buddy, and I appreciate that. Like I do. I have no ill will towards him. I didn't like what my friend April was telling me, and that's the long and short of it. That's the only thing I have had to say about it, and it's just I think he'd do himself a favor by just like stop responding and just try and do better and stick with what he's good at, which is law tubing. Wouldn't that be good advice for him, maybe?
Well, I mean, that's the same advice that I've said, right, on my show. Yeah, but it's, I understand his view too, right? Because that has traditionally been mine. And you see, I have this slight stammer at certain points tonight. I'll tell you why. And another reason.
A whip it break? I'm just kidding.
No, I'm at the end of my taper on Xanax. And so my very small dose today has worn off. It's 0.25 and it's now midnight here almost. And so I'm at the tail end and it's starting to fuck with me a little bit. That's why I had problems sleeping. I shouldn't even say this on air because I know people will, commiserate about that, whatever.
But Xanax.
No, but I'm just saying, like, he's had struggles with, substance problems, maybe not abuse, whatever you want to say. You have to live all this stuff out in public, and people use that as a way to tear you down. And this guy's doing drugs and he's on pills or he must be evil. And so, just on that level, I sympathize with him because I've been through it. I'm still going through it. I had a relapse last month. Everybody knows about it because I was on air when it happened, right? Like, it's like, okay, you have to go out and stream every day regardless. And some of those days are rough. And, people define you by those rough days. And that's not really the definition of you. And so I know what that's like. And I think that that's fucked up. I know how it goes. I've been in the business for a long time. I've defined people myself. And so, don't shed any tears. Nobody will, I'm sure, for me, but I completely sympathize with him just on that level. I
hope you don't think I actually, you'll never believe it, I sympathize with him as well. That's a terrible fucking thing to go through. I mean, it's horrific. I can't even imagine. I would never have a kid having your kids taken away from you for a certain amount of time. I think he can redeem himself. I don't think he's, like I've always said, I don't think he's inherently a bad dude. And just like you're like, I've made mistakes. I've, been had a relapse or done whatever. My God, who hasn't had a fucking issue in their life? I have no issue there. It's my thing is the anger and trying to maybe talk back to people that really in the scheme of things it doesn't really matter. But I understand why you would. So
yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that, but I've had periods where I'm able to ignore it. I'm ignoring it now. But traditionally it's been, I guess I kind of helped pioneer that strategy, right? Just go at it, fuck it, make it a part of your show, roast everybody who talks shit every single day. They're trying to destroy you. Go at them. That's so it's funny coming from me, right? For some people to hear that, right? I don't disagree. The last, it's almost 4 weeks now, but on Wednesday will be. But since I saw my son for his birthday, a few days before that actually, but that convinced me.
Father's Day again.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I decided I was gonna stick with the 3 days I had sober. Let's see, Wednesday, Thursday. I guess it was the fourth day that I had sober, and I've tried that before. I'm not patting myself on the back because I've had longer runs than this, but that kind of helped me not only decide that to try to refocus on that, but also to ignore everybody who's talking shit about me and not read Kiwi Farms, anything they say about me. I did read some of his thread the other day, when your stream was live, right? Because that's how I was monitoring it. And then they turned on it, right? So I was like, okay. But I was getting reports by reading that thread. And so, I have read some, but I stopped reading all the negative stuff about me. I stopped, searching people out who I know are talking negative about me. And, it gets to be a habit, like drugs, honestly, to read negativity about yourself. I've said this on my own show. And
you have to be high to sit there and put yourself through it, probably.
Well, you think that, but it's like, what are they saying? Right. And it's almost like I need to see this, and I need to respond. And so I understand that. And again, I'm not critiquing him, for his strategy, because that's been my strategy most of the time. But I've said the same thing. It's better to ignore, and that's what I've been doing. If somebody tags me on Twitter, I might fire off a tweet, but I have people muted. I know we're talking crazy. I have a few people blocked that I know are real crazy, and Twitter's the only way to get to me, right? Because I'm not watching any anti-me stuff. That's why when you were doing that segment, I was like, okay, I'm not watching this. I don't want to see this, and I didn't know what you said as a result.
And let me tell you again, I'm glad your people told you, because I was like,
yeah,
I had nothing but lovely interactions with him. I mean, and again, I remember you texting me, like, I was with Chrissy at the time when you were asking me to come on your show. You're like, just let her know I that was a different thing.
Well, I was fucked up on that.
Just do it. That we don't care. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, I think this is a genuine human being. Like, so that's why I did as best as I could with that fucking stupid Gabe thing, to be like, I don't think this is a disingenuous human being. Like, I have no issue with him. I've had nothing but lovely interactions with him. And it was a shockingly fun, interview and fun time on your show. Do you know what I mean? So I don't look at it like that. And I hope I'm not coming down on you with the Rekieta thing. We can disagree.
No, we disagree on it. I know some people, you guys obviously, but I see some of the chats and they're like, he can't really believe that, can he? It's like, well, yeah, I'm not out here. They said he's got the broom out. No, these are my genuine thoughts, and people can disagree with it. I don't hold it against them personally.
I don't think
to do this.
The term sweeping is so fucking stupid and hack. It's bullshit. It's like, okay, listen, this is my experience with this person that I genuinely know. It's not sweeping. I love your candor on it. All right. I have a different experience, because the only way I even know about it, I know what April has said to me, and we can disagree and we can talk about it, but it's sweeping or whatever. It's not about sides. I take people every single day of my life one-on-one, right? That's the way everyone should
do it. Yeah. And if somebody says, "Oh, I don't like this person, you shouldn't talk to them," I don't ever do that, because people do it to me, for one, and it's just also just not the way I operate. But I'll say this: I don't know if you know the full history between Nick and I. We were, let's say friends, and he came on my show, went on his. He had me on. I think that was the first show I went on when I got banned on YouTube. I used to have the #1 late night show on YouTube, period, with thousands of viewers every single night.
Brennan.
Yeah, and I got blackballed off YouTube, and spent some time in the wilderness, and I'm still there. Really, but whatever. It's a delight to do what I do. But we got into a feud. Like, we were feuding for, I don't know, couple of years. Yeah, like all this stuff people were saying about him. A lot of this, Baldo this, Baldo that. Like, I was talking about that when people were like ignoring it. And again, it's not a big deal. I halfway think it's a joke. Like, I watched the video and I was like, he's just joking around. Like, I don't know, but all this stuff, people are talking about. Like, I was going in on Nick when he had 50,000 viewers, and they said all these Kiwi Farm people, I'll say, since we're here on YouTube, lighten the loafers, I'll say, instead of the word I was going to use. They were all on his nutsack and saying, well, I bet Ralph wishes he was cool with Nick still, so he could get on this 50,000 person stream that I wouldn't have been on anyway, because he had lawyers on talking about, but whatever. No, I was mad at the time, and he was mad too after I got mad, and so we had a pretty nasty feud going on. And then there was a tweet he sent out where he credited me as one of his early influences and supporters in his career, and several others. But I was like, oh, that was pretty nice. And then I had some turmoil in my personal life, and I messaged him and I said, man, we should just stop fighting, right? We used to be friends. This is like, and he said yes.
When you can do that, isn't that nice? Yeah. You're like, it's the weight lifted off your shoulders, isn't it? It's like, okay, let's just
not everybody will do that. Honestly, and I'm always like that. Now it's burned me a few times, I will say. They went back to hating me. But regardless, I was, refreshed by that. And, he could easily said, fuck off, right? Go fuck yourself. I don't want anything to do with you. He didn't. And, it's not like we talk all the time or anything like that. But, we started being cool again. And it's just one less beef, one less, even though I have like 500. That was one I really regretted it happening, right? And so, that
now you just sweep.
You probably don't know,
all
right?
day long. You just sweep it, sweep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like all these people, Josh Moon included, by the way, the top Ricada A-log. Josh Moon, who Ricada saved his website, basically had him on day after day, save Kiwi Farms and all this shit. Like Josh Moon was dangling from his nutsack. Like I said earlier, all these people were. So was
there are two ways to look at this. And correct me if I'm wrong. Right? Hello?
What?
Oh, no, correct me if I'm wrong. There
Are
are
you talking
two.
to me?
Yeah, you do. There are two ways to look at this. Yeah, you can look at it like, it doesn't matter what it is. They're just trying to take down Ricada no matter what. Or is Ricada not ever taking accountability for anything and, sort of lying about whatever? But Ricada doesn't owe anyone an fucking nation. He doesn't. But if he stayed away from it, presto, it's like nobody would have anything to fucking talk about. It's like I don't sit around all day on my show like with Gabe fucking stupid idiot Hoffman trying to like go and like do some weird internet shit. It's like if Ricada stayed away from it, but he can't, and he should. It's like, yes, he's made some obvious fucking mistakes. Stay off of Kiwi Farms. If you ignore it and you just try and do better, then it's over. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any sense. I have no ill will towards him. I don't like what I heard from my friend April. I don't like that. And in my opinion, I think he fucked up a lot. But it's not like I think he's inherently a bad dude. But this is why people say sweep, because you're like, well, there's no proof of that, because that's what Ricada will fucking tell you. Well, how many messages do I have from him? It's like someone's lying. Everyone's lying. Aaron did this to us. That's a lot of the messages I have. It come to find out, it's like, I taught her to do whippets, cocaine, and ketamine as well. Like, okay.
Well, that was hyperbolic too, though, right? Like he's like, "Oh, you forgot about all the other drugs we did." Like he was making a joke. Like, I don't know.
You think that was a joke? No, he was.
No, I think they probably did do those drugs together, but like he's joking, like I made her do it. Not only coke, it was this, that, and the other too, right? Again, she chose to do that. I like April. She was cool when I met her. She actually gave me a scoop when this whole thing first started, and so I've always gotten along with her. I don't know the particulars of all that, how things
I know them.
Well, there's two sides to every story. Look, I just don't know. I haven't talked to Ricada about that. I've seen what he said in public. I've seen some of the stuff you've alluded to or whatever. I don't know. A breakup of a relationship is
what it seems like to me is that, like, I don't know Kayla, I don't know whatever. She's like, I'm done with this. I want to hang out. Our kids were taken away from us for a time. Let me just hang out with them. Whatever. Nick is still on the keyboard. April's away from them. Like, I want nothing to do with this anymore. And maybe he should like stick to what he's good to and like ignore all of this bullshit and fucking cover the Karen Reed trial.
Look,
I think the best thing he could possibly do and ignore it all. I understand why it's hard, but yeah.
Well, we don't disagree there, but it has I'll say this, it seeks you out too, right? Like even on Twitter and me ignoring these people, they know that's the only place they can get to me, so they come at me and they're saying all kinds of wild shit all the time. Now, the longer you ignore them, the dimmer they get. That's true, and it's tried and true. It's guaranteed. But you have to get to that place, right? And so, I completely understand what he's doing, where he's at. Also, it's easy content. You have somebody like Imholt every single day, literally every single day. It's April this, Nick that. It's been over a year now. Like,
hacked. It's so hacked. Of course, it's easy to fucking make fun of Aaron.
Yourself and your personal. I know this. I've done this, and that's something I'm trying to break. It's very hard to break, especially when you do a show as long as mine throughout the day. Well, it's like you just naturally drift. You're talking with your audience, and you drift into your life, and it's like I have to almost slap myself to stop myself because you get so used to it. It's like stop talking about it. Stop talking about this person, this relationship. It is hard to break. So it takes practice. And at a certain point, people just don't want to hear about it too. But look, that's what I said about the video, right? It's 2 years ago. I spent enough time talking about all that stuff, and I'm trying to move on past it. And so.
Before I read this, number one, thank you for coming on. By the way.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm stammering a little bit. Like I said, I'm up later than I thought, and so.
No, I hijacked your night. Now I'm Gabe, and I kept.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Let me read some of these because I think maybe some of them have to have a question for you, but also, again, that's why I went like, thank God for you, like for posting that and saying that, because it honestly made me feel so much better. Like, I think Keanu got taken advantage of because I had nothing but a lovely experience, like talking to you. You were nothing but professional and lovely. And like, this is the thing. This is what people do. We may disagree about Rekieta, and even I don't think he's inherently a bad dude. I understand you want to take up for your friend, and that's perfectly fine. I have no ill will towards him or you, and I really do appreciate you saying that after the Gabe Hoffman stream, because I was lying in bed fucking with Gino, like crying. So I really, really do appreciate that. But let me read some of these to you. Let's see. And I'm sorry for ignoring you all for a second. And then I'll let you go. And you've given us way too much of your precious time.
Not precious, but thank you.
Amy, thank you. Ralph, your opinion, Nick Luzzi. Oh, wait, we read that one. Push-ups, thank you for the $5. Yeah, Ralph, because Mossad doesn't have bigger things to worry about than the sector.
It's Sektur, by the way, but which is a misspelling, but it's based on how I pronounce it. Regardless, I coined the term. I used to call it this corner of the internet. I was like, I'm a tabloid guy. Like I focus on headlines.
That's what the sector is. It's this bizarre corner of the internet. Okay.
Yeah. I named it that. And, I talked about that earlier. You'd think that's silly, but it's really not. Anyway.
And no, not at all. Not at all. Yeah. Griswold, thank you for the $5. Ball washer Ethan, how much money did Nitrous Nick pay you for your services?
Not a dime. I mean, I'm open to accepting a payment after if he wants to send something my way, but no, nobody's paid me a dime. I mean, look, if I wanted to, get extra people on my side or whatever, or some of the people that hate him, I would come out and turn on him, right? And shit on him. Like I would say, the internet's drift, rightly or wrongly, I think wrongly, is like anti-Nick. Anti-me too, right? Like, I don't know. And so, if I wanted to do that and win plaudits, I would come out here and betray him, shit on him, say things I don't believe. So
I hear ya. Push-ups, thank you for the $2. How was April when you met her? Did she seem well?
She seemed well to me. She was lovely. We had a long conversation. Of course, we were all at like I said, an early dinner, late lunch, whatever you want to call it.
I thought you were going to say we were all on whippets, but
no whippets.
I'm kidding.
I didn't say this at the time because not advertising my drinking back then, but her and I did have a few drinks, but no whippets, no other extracurriculars.
Good. She should have a few drinks. That's fine. Oh, thank you for the $20, Jay Danks. Respect
One of my viewers.
For fetching Mrs. Keanu. Why are all the Ralph Amale respecting women so attractive?
True.
It's quite the mystery. Nick is based, by the way. There you go.
Salute, Jay Danks, respected.
Push-ups, thank you for the $2. This is shockingly civil. Cheers, Ralph and Kiki. Oh, thank you, push-ups. The Chugi show. Thank God. Don't let Ralph have custody of his children if he thinks the situation was healthy. Oh,
I didn't say anything about it. Look, I didn't say it was optimal. I just think, there's a time to remove kids and there's a time not to. And for me, the bar is a lot higher. And some people might disagree with that. It doesn't make me angry. It has been quite civil. I didn't expect it to get uncivil. We kind of had some of this conversation on my show when you and Gino, I think, were on there, and it was civil then. Like, we just disagree, and
and we're allowed to. This is a nice conversation to have because I've not had any ill will towards you or I don't live my life like that. You've been nothing but respectful to me. I understand you're taken up for your buddy. We're allowed to disagree on him, and that's the long and short of it, right?
I agree.
Joke 34. Hang up on him. He is. Is this horrific for you? You're he is mistaking the basic facts of the case. He is convinced a felon and convinced of releasing RP of the mother of his son. Oh, I know. But thank you for the $10.
I wasn't the mother of my son at the time. I'll say that. And regardless, there's things we all regret in life. I am a convicted felon, but not for that. For assault on police when I didn't even hit the fucking police. I just took a swing at them. I didn't know they were police. They woke me up on a hotel couch.
I remember you telling me that.
But good old Virginia. Gotta love that state.
I'll ask you, like Shawshank Redemption, do you feel rehabilitated?
One day at a time, I'll say. Like they say.
There's only 3 more than I know. I know this is torture, or I'll let you go. Hang on. Joke Turd, thank you for the $5. Not gonna lie, you yucking it up with Ralph is an overt violation of the values you have claimed you have. It's sickening. All right, well, didn't we just all right.
Well, because you talk to somebody or you're cool with them doesn't mean you support everything they say or have done in their personal lives. And so
I think I made that very fucking clear.
Yeah, that should be obvious to anybody who's not, a high schooler or a moron. So
yes, I don't listen. Political tribalism is terrible. Fucking internet tribalism is terrible. You take people one-on-one. That's how I was always taught from my family. And that's how I will live my life. Thank you so much. The Smoking Lesbo, thank you for the $10. A man is allowed to have fun and do what he wants. He also left LV to make it a home for Mother's Day. Yes, exactly. He did. I bring up that point a lot. It's go ahead on Mother's Day weekend to go to the Festival of Incels. And we don't have to agree on that. One more. Vape Woo, thank you for the $10. Sad Ralph is boring. Can we get back on topic? What was the topic?
I wasn't being sad. I was just telling you, I start noticing it more than other people probably even because I'm usually very precise with my words if I'm not drunk or something. And so just a little stammer, I'm sitting here thinking about it probably more than anybody in the audience. So I was just I'm just going to say it. I don't give a fuck because it goes into, some of my thoughts on the matter anyway. So yeah, every little snare, I'm just like in my brain, I'm like motherfucker, because that's literally my moneymaker, my use of language and speech, right? And so it's just like shit. But yeah, that's why I said that. It wasn't being sad.
You seem to be a very polarizing character. I won't force you to sit here any longer.
No, it's fine. I enjoyed myself.
Now I'll get to all my stuff for Ralph. You never let me get to next time we chat.
Oh, really?
Maybe we can have you guys back on the show. I was thinking about mentioning that. Maybe we can set something up. That'd be great.
We never got back to it. So happy Father's Day, buddy.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. You guys take care, and thanks for having me. I hope people enjoyed the conversation, even if they don't agree with me and my takes. I thought it was very civil, as one of the super chatters said, and I'm appreciative of you having me.
Thank you for coming on, Ralph.
You're welcome.
This was very fun. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Eugene.
What's up, woman?
I didn't realize I was gonna